Hi everyone, I'm Bilal and I have some major updates for you today. From OpenAI declaring code red to AWS making some big AI related announcements at their annual conference, and then finally some updates from Anthropic as well. All right, the first big story is OpenAI. Sam Altman has shared an internal memo where he has declared code red after the success of Google's Gemini platform, because apparently Gemini has added around 200 million users in the last 3 months, which is one of the fastest adoption curves we have seen in the generative AI era. And it's putting real pressure on OpenAI and the consumer AI space. Now, Google has been able to push Gemini through its various channels like Android, Gmail, Chrome, Drive, Google Workspace. Um, so, to combat this, OpenAI has decided to pause work on some of its projects, like the ads integration that they were working on. Sam Altman has never really been a huge fan of ads, so that wasn't surprising. And they had some other projects going on, including a personal assistant called Pulse. And they've kind of paused that and focused their resources on their core model development. If we go back 3 years when ChatGPT launched, Google was in the same spot where they had to declare code red, and Google's CEO reassigned teams to focus on their AI roadmap. What followed was Bard, and like literally 3 years down the road, they've been able to come up with something that has been able to beat ChatGPT and OpenAI. But I think that this memo is just a way for Sam Altman to motivate the team. I don't think it should be seen as a signal of any fear or concern for OpenAI. OpenAI has been working on a model which is codenamed Garlic. They're claiming that in internal testing, it is performing better than Gemini on coding and reasoning, and they have been able to do it with using less data, which suggests that they are doing it in a more cost efficient way. Regardless, I think it's very interesting times for the AI race, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Moving on to AWS. AWS has its annual conference, reInvent, and this year they've made some big developments in AI, which they introduced, starting with introduction of their foundational models, the Nova 2 family of models. These models include expanded support for like text, image, video, speech, and reasoning models. And more importantly, they've introduced a new platform called Nova Forge. Now, this platform allows AWS customers to train their Nova models from any checkpoint during, it could be during pre-training, mid-training, or post-training, which basically means is that you can take the Nova model at any specific checkpoint, and then you can basically add your own data to it and then train it, right? And then you can host that model in AWS Bedrock and use it. Um, uh, Apart from the data, this allows you to alter the model's like core reasoning ability, its world knowledge, its safety guidelines, something that was not possible with just fine-tuning a model. So this is actually pretty revolutionary what AWS has given people, and let's see how the industry uses it. AWS has also launched 3 AI agents. First is the Keto autonomous agent, which writes code for hours and days, and it's just like a helping coding agent. They've added a security agent, which can perform code reviews to make sure that there are no vulnerabilities in your code. And then there's a DevOps agent, which can help prevent incidents, and it can also help you with debugging problems when incidents happen. They made some advancements on their infrastructure side as well. Their Trainium 3 powered ultra servers have been launched, and that's what they're using for AI training. Now, this is the Trainium 3 is an AI chip, which is kind of the competition to Google's TPUs or NVIDIA's GPUs. The thing is, though, we still have to see Amazon use these chips to train a model that can compete with the likes of OpenAI and Gemini. For example, Gemini was trained on Google's TPUs, so that's a big win for TPUs, right? And then we all know what NVIDIA's GPUs are capable of. More on the infrastructure side, AWS has launched AI Factory, which is basically a way large enterprise customers can run AWS AI systems in their own data centers. Now, federal customers might require certain compliance requirements or security requirements, and that requires them to stay on-prem, and they can now leverage AWS AI systems and services within their own cloud. So in this tight race, I do think AWS is leaning into what it does best, which is cloud infrastructure and services. And tools like Nova Forge may end up being the differentiator that truly sets them apart in this race. All right, moving on. Mistral has launched their latest model named Mistral 3, which is available in the 14 billion, 18 billion, 3 billion parameter variants. According to benchmarks, it's slightly better than DeepSeek's v3.1 model. But remember that last week, DeepSeek did relaunch their v3.2 model, which I'm sure is going to be better than Mistral 3. One differentiation that Mistral has is that it released this with the Apache 2 license, which is way more flexible compared to the license that DeepSeek has been using. So DeepSeek's models actually have limitations and restrictions on commercial use. So you can play around with it, but for you to really use it and use it commercially, you do need permission and also all sorts of things. Just a reminder that Mistral is an AI company based out of France. And what's important to note is that US is actually running far behind in the open models category. So models which have open weights. And there are only a very handful of companies still working on building models which are going to be open. One company that I know of is Reflection AI, who's working into it. Meta had their Llama model, which used to be ranked really high, but now it's like way far behind the Chinese models like Qwen and DeepSeek, which are leading the open models category. So I think in a world that is increasingly depending on, let's say, open weight models, and it's going to happen more and more, I don't think US can just sit on the sidelines and watch this happen. I think all US companies also need a real strategy in this, or else they will surrender the whole space to Chinese and European companies, which would be a shame. All right, finally, Anthropic is in a similar position to OpenAI in the sense that they need to raise massive capital to train their models. They're exploring more private funding, and they're also exploring the possibility of an IPO. Now, if they do go public, it would probably be the largest tech IPO ever. And I can imagine early engineers with like significant equity could realistically become billionaires overnight. So we'll see what happens there. And then more on Anthropic's Claude Code just hit a 1 billion annualized run rate, which means that at the current monthly rate, they are on target to make $1 billion in revenue. So I think Claude Code isn't just another coding assistant. It's rapidly becoming a platform that any serious software team is using and building their software with. All right, that's all for today. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.